Duncan founder and CEO of Brillband, a next-generation broadband company redefining connectivity through transparency, innovation, and customer-first infrastructure. With a background in venture development and early-stage growth, his mission is to make high-quality internet access a true utility delivered without complexity or compromise.
Fantastic. That's nice. I would want to get into the acquisition part later on. Now that you've mentioned it. So I wanted to know, for somebody who is, we're going to get to because to me it seems that's a later stage for entrepreneurship. The middle stages, has there been a day? What are the day-to-day? What does it look like? Having to raise funds, having to be able to, the runway, be able to pay overhead, be able to manage all of these competing priorities. How has it been for you as a person? How has it stretched you? Because it was Alex Omoze that says entrepreneurship is like eating glass and staring into the abyss. There is no, for somebody eating glass, it's not easy. Staring into the abyss is not easy,
Before this, I looked at some of my notes on my phone and I sound not well. So I think, you go through ups and downs massively. So if I look at that period of time, I think really making sure you have a good support network outside of work, that's really important. Keeping on top of your fitness as best as you can.
You mean physical health?
Yeah, physical health. I mean physical health, and I don't mean I'm not I'm not part of the manosphere or any of that stuff. I just mean try and eat healthy, right? And it's hard, man. It's hard when you're tired and you've done like a 12-hour day and you come home and you're seeing other people talking about athletic greens and Huel and doing all this stuff and getting up at 4 a.m. and bicep curling, and you're just like, bro, I got 2 kids. I just need to do some press ups, or I just need to go on a dog walk, and actually that's what I needed to do, and it was trying to maintain that while also trying to bring the energy and enthusiasm that you need to be demonstrating in your office with your team.
Yeah.
So that they feel motivated to continue pushing through the pain that you're putting them through with the promise of greatness is hard. And it's, I think that, so yeah, to go back to it, it's like good home and support network outside of the office, exercise or try to. And then also so I'm really proud that I've always been able to go to sleep at night. That sounds nuts, right? But you speak to some entrepreneurs and they can't sleep at night. You speak to some businessmen, they can't sleep at night, or they struggle to sleep at night. And the reason for that is I've always been completely transparent with my team and my investors, and that really helped. Rosie, one of my biggest investors in the business, very, very experienced individual within business, executive chairman of Macquarie Capital. He said to me when we went for dinner, he said, Duncan, if there's one thing I want you to do when you have a problem and you're struggling, is pass it up. Okay. What do you mean? He was like, pass it up, pass it to Ollie. Ollie was my investment director, another one of our biggest investors in the business. Awesome guy. And if Ollie can't fix it, he'll pass it up to Mark, another one of my investors in the business. If Mark can't fix it, Mark will pass it up to me. And what he was insinuating is that between them, they're sort of over 100 years of experience within investing in infrastructure, and they'd probably seen what I was going through one of their portfolio businesses, and they could either draw upon their own experience or ask their other portfolio businesses or people that they knew to sit with me and help talk through the problem, which they did on a number of occasions. And I think that's one thing that a lot of early stage entrepreneurs that make the mistake of thinking that they need to have the answer for everything. You really don't. It's okay to say when something's not going well. It's okay to tell your investors when something isn't going well. I'm telling you, they'd much rather know about it because they want to protect their portfolio, first and foremost, and therefore they can protect their portfolio by leaning on their network of people. Then they will.
That's intense, man. How, you made mention of people that are your investment director,
Uh-huh.
this person, that person, how do you build those kind of relationship? How did you build? How
Yeah.
did you know them?
That's a good question. So Fuel Ventures, my first ticket into Brillband. So first investment, first ticket in our pre-seed round. Did an introduction. I had like an introduction service. And
What's the introduction service for those who are not?
yeah, cool. So you basically will ask an individual to make introductions for you to investors, and the agreement is that they will then take a cut of your investment round. So people who think it's free to raise money, that doesn't exist, right? Like you have to pay money, right? And no, exactly. And I would set aside like 10% of your round. Genuinely, like in the early days, I'd set aside about 10% of your round. Look, your fees will probably come in under that, but trust me, there's a lot of money involved.
Raising money.
Yeah, in raising money, right? And there's a lot of people need to be paid. So setting aside about 10% when I was doing it was the right amount. You've got legal fees, you've then got, so like Fuel Ventures, like I had to pay their legal fees, right? And then you have your introducers fees. And they they made some introductions. I had loads of those. And then it was really, really odd. So James made an introduction to a family office, and the guy reviewed it and he said, I don't think it's one for us, but I know the guys at Macquarie Capital and I think they would like to look at it. It's like Macquarie Capital. I'm like, who are they? And then look at it. It's like the world's biggest infrastructure investors. They've got some of the biggest infrastructure investments globally between Macquarie Capital and Macquarie Asset Management, two separate businesses under the same. But so one's is investing people's money, that's Macquarie Asset Management, and one is investing the bank's money, that's Macquarie Capital. There's like a glass wall between the two businesses. And I was like, right, okay. James was like, I don't actually know these guys, but look, are you happy for the introduction to be made? You still happy for the fee arrangement that we've got? I was like, yeah, right, let's do it. And I ended up going to Moorgate, to their head offices in London. And they've got this really big orange staircase that goes through the middle of the building. And at the time, Squid Games had only just come out. So it looked like the Squid Game staircase. I was like, this is crazy. Right, I'm sat in this massive boardroom. We walk in and there was Oliver and there was Giovanni, and they were sat there. And they had my deck in front of them. They had my financial model in front of them. And then there was this really big TV on the wall. No one was on that yet. And it was really quiet. It felt like 5 minutes. I'm probably sure it was probably like a minute, 2 minutes tops, where there was nothing said. And I was like, I'm Duncan, nice to meet you. And then all of a sudden they barraged me with questions about my financial model, my business plan, the market. I was like, this is intense. And it was quick fire. And then at the end of that, they were like, so what do you think? And Rosie was dialed into the call, was on the screen at this point. And he went, there's one or two things. Either we do it as Macquarie, or if it's too small for that, I'm actually personally interested. And bear in mind, at the time, I only needed at that point, remainder of the round was like 450,000.
How much were you raising?
650.
You already raised 250 before then.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so I needed 450 left. And that was raised between those guys. And they literally off the back of that, went and had loads of meetings. And next thing I know, I got this request for a call, and they were like, yeah, we'd like to do it. This is the structure we want to put in place. This is how we can help you. Signed all the agreements, and then they wanted to take me for dinner. So I flew to London for dinner, and I got to meet them all. And they wanted to congratulate me, which was really nice. But then also, tell me, that's the pass it up piece. It was at that dinner. He's talked to me about how they wanted it to work and how they could help me and how they could support me and that they believed in me. And that was I think that's also like a hard piece, is like that we all get it, right? Imposter syndrome, and dealing with that imposter syndrome and sitting at a table at dinner with some incredibly talented, wealthy individuals and sitting there like, I can't believe I'm sat at this table right now. Like, what's going on? Yeah. Like, and then you deal with that. And I think the whole journey, the whole way through, and actually, in fact, it's not just like entrepreneurship, it's everyone's careers, right? Everyone is dealing with that imposter syndrome. And I think there's also a whole part on that you need to learn to manage.
Walk me through how you raised the first 250.
Oh yeah, so it was pretty. So lots of sending my deck out to VCs, and angels, loads of those.
Through the introduction company, like
No. So that was just myself. So leveraging LinkedIn, leveraging VCs like intro forms on their websites. Excuse me. And then it was, luck of the draw, really. Who's going to look at my deck in a deck sift? And that's the thing that you need to do. Your deck needs to be captivating, and you need to get, your executive summary has got to be killer, right? You need to make sure your problem, your solution, market, and opportunity sit within that slide, because if they like that, they'll then read through the rest of your deck. If not, next. And they get so many sent to them, like thousands are sent to them, that they have to be quick in the way that they review them. So there's a whole, you need to be thinking about the psychology of someone in that position in order to sell to them.
So you did raise the first 250 through LinkedIn?
Actually, raised it. So the first 150 was through Fuel Ventures. Then I pitched to. They had at the time. They don't have it anymore. They had like an angel network. So I pitched to their angel network. I actually did that concussed. I didn't know I was concussed at the time.
What's concussed?
Like I'd banged my head and had concussion. I didn't know I had concussion. I couldn't even see the screen. It was all blurry. That's when I knew I had something wrong. And still raised 20 grand on that call though. I couldn't tell you how that call went. There's apparently a call recording of that sitting around in Fuel Ventures somewhere. So yeah, if that ever comes out, that's going to be quite a funny watch, because I had no idea. Can't even remember that. Went to hospital the next day and they were like, yeah, you got concussion. I was like, oh, that explains why I found that really hard. And then then the rest was the guys, the angels, my big ticket angels. So I would call it like Ollie, Rosie, Giovanni, and Mark, all individually.
Not as a company.
No. They were individual angels in the business. Nothing to do with. They just happened to work at Macquarie, but they all knew each other through work, and then that's how they could understand the opportunity. Because they were seeing the digital infrastructure play across Europe and in the UK, and going, this looks like a cool opportunity because it's a market that we understand from an infrastructure perspective. They didn't really understand it from the ISP point of view, but they understood the infrastructure part of the market, and they understood why full fiber was going to be the next big thing in the UK when it came to broadband.
Amazing. Wow. You're really pulling a lot of weights. You're doing a lot of amazing things.
Thank you.
And that was one of the first impression I had about you. Like, I just see you somebody, a David and a Goliath. Yeah, so how are you?
Yeah, it does feel a bit like that sometimes.
It's amazing. So I want us to take a look at where you are currently. The company has been acquired by a bigger company.
Yeah.
So, it looks like the company already see what you are doing for what you have, they saw the value of what you are currently working to achieve. And it seems they want to leverage what they're already doing to, the synergy is supposed to be. Walk me through how did you approach this stage of the business? The business started from zero.
Mm-hmm.
This stage, you raised 600. I think the next one probably under 1.2 million or so.
Yeah, so in total, across the time of private angel money was about 1.5, I think it was. And we needed a lot more, right? Like we got to that point and you were needing, we needed about 2.7 was the next round. But the metrics that VC were expecting us to be at, we just couldn't hit. So that's when it was, okay, I've got two decisions here. I can sell the business or the business disappears, right? It dies. I didn't want it to die. I put too much into it, man. It was all right, this does not deserve to die, because even the angel, none of my investors are angry, right? So that's one thing that I think a lot of founders worry about. They'll be angry at you if you've been negligent but when a market's against you, I had guys that lost 500 grand, and they said, thank you for the hard work that you've put into making this business what it is. This is just a matter of market and circumstance. There's nothing more you could have done. like to have that validation, I think for me was really important. I think without it, I would have probably hit a dark spot, you know, like, because
Wow.
it's, you know, I know to them, like relatively, like it's not a lot, but in my world, that's a lot of money. A lot of money, right? It's not insignificant at all. And I think that was really important. And then doing the acquisition, we didn't have any money for legal, so thanks ChatGPT. So my acquisition, my lawyer was ChatGPT and me. I don't recommend this. I don't recommend
That's
it.
dangerous.
Yeah, it was. But needs must, right? And yeah, no, it was successfully sold. So so
So what's the structure right now?
yeah, so I don't own any of Brillband anymore.
You don't own anything.
No, that's the way it is. There's different things though. So I've got an LTIP in place. So long-term incentive plan, is what it means. And then other conversations will happen in the future, right? But at the time it was, how do I keep what I created alive? How do I keep my incredible team in jobs? And how do I ensure that the likes of Sky, BT, Virgin Media get away with what they continue to do, which is control a market? And, you know, I want to give people another option. And so I currently am CEO. The agreement was that I have complete operational control of the business. So I can, you know, do what I want within reason. Still have a board structure like I did with like previously. So when we had a board, the board is different now. So when the business was acquired, that board is all then, you know, they all have to resign and the new board is formed. But I have a wicked board. And what I'm using this for really is an opportunity to continue the growth of Brillband. And the way I view it is I now don't have to worry about fundraising because as part of that, there was an agreed amount of funding that would come into Brillband that enabled me to go and live the vision. And I'm young, right? I'm 32. So, you know, I noticed your Duncan banner time book, right? At 30, he was surfing still on the Isle of Wight. Like, you know, I actually really like his book where he talks about that journey. It's a really good read. But he, yeah, I see this as an opportunity at the moment to continue the growth of the business, to continue doing something I'm really passionate about whilst also learning. You know, I've got this amazing opportunity to learn in the Octopus ecosystem, right? So to even be part of that is I sometimes have to think, okay, how's this happened, right? Like, how is my business that I created part of the Octopus ecosystem, part of the Octopus family? That for me is a huge achievement, and I see it as a huge learning opportunity. Because, you know, Brillband won't be my only venture. I think, you know, I definitely have the bug, and you know me, I know where there's opportunities. So there's a couple of things that, you know, that I think in the future that I'll, you know, once I've achieved what I want to achieve at Brillband, there'll be you know,
The next phase.
yeah, exactly, right? Like everybody, and yeah, it's exciting.